So I came down here the other day, and this thing was off, and it was off in a way that I've never seen before. It's got no lights, it doesn't respond to any knob turning or switch flipping. I cycled the power on to see if my battery backup would pick it up. It didn't do that either. I've got literally no life in this thing at all. So I started digging in, and here's what I found. On the back of this control board down here, there is a fuse. It's like one of those glass fuses. You're not going to be able to see it. It's like up here. It's a 6 amp, 240 volt fuse, and it was blown. So I ordered more fuses, and then I was like, if I put the fuse in without finding the problem, then it's just going to blow again, and that's going to waste a fuse. So I started thinking about it, and normally the combustion blower runs when it's on battery backup. I have a battery backup unit installed, which I didn't do a video about, so maybe I should do that. And so I started digging into the electronics back here where it comes in, and I did some tests, and power was coming in, power was getting to the control board, but it wasn't getting, or rather it was going to the combustion blower, which I've removed. This cover normally goes around it, and then it mounts in the back here. And there was no life in the combustion blower. So I decided, without testing, that the combustion blower was bad. Well, that's not always the best plan. You should generally test first. So my combustion blower came in, and I got out my multimeter and decided, alright, I'm going to figure out if this thing's bad or not. And this is the old one here. I've already removed the fan. I've actually had to cut the shaft to get it off. This is my combustion blower, and this is my new one. And so I've already cut the wires off of this, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. I got my multimeter out, and I set it to 20K, 20,000 ohms, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And what happened when I touched the two leads to the hot wire and the neutral wire on the new one, the ohm meter went to 0. And when I touched it to ground, it did not go to 0. Which I think means that these two are not connected, and these two are. So when you touch them, basically there's 0 resistance between them, or something. I don't know. I don't really know. So don't take this as a how to use a multimeter video. But anyway, I did that to the old one, and I had my hot connected, and I touched it to neutral, and nothing changed on the multimeter, which tells me that that circuit is broken. So with alternating current, AC, the current flows through this wire and comes back over this wire. And if that's broken, it can't do that, which means, kind of tells me that there could be a short to the body, but I couldn't get that multimeter to show me that either. So I determined that it was bad, and went about taking the fan and the mounting housing off of here, which was just an Allen screw and a whole bunch of soot and rust. So what I decided to do is I took them outside and sandblasted them and then painted them, just to give them a little bit extra life. I could not get the Allen screw out initially with just a regular old Allen wrench, and so I highly recommend an impact drill and one of these little buggers. So mount that in your drill. What it does is it goes rap, 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 and breaks it loose, whereas an Allen wrench, it's just kind of steady pressure, and you end up stripping out the inside of the Allen key. I hate that. So that didn't happen this time, because I used my impact, and that was awesome. And then I could not I could not pull the fan off of this shaft, and so I just ended up cutting the shaft and then tapping it out the other way because this motor's bad. The new model does not have a fan on the back like this one. They determined it wasn't necessary. Boy, I hope they're right. I wonder if I could mount it on there anyway. No, not really. The shaft is too short. So, what I'm doing now is the new one came with wires that are way too short. They also came with these spade connectors on them. I cut them off. And I grabbed the wiring loom from the old one, which is clearly longer, and I'm splicing it in. So I'm splicing it into the old loom here, and I've got, these are waterproof heat shrink butt connectors. I recommend buying pallets of these because they make all of your wiring neat. And every time I do this type of wiring, I end up cutting the wires all at the same length and putting 3 butt connectors right next to each other, and then it makes a huge bunch. And this is the first time I've ever remembered to do it this way so that it's not one huge bunch. So stagger your cuts so that there's enough room for these to hang out and not be in a bunch. So now what I'm doing is basically wiring up this motor, these short wires, permanently with these waterproof butt connectors, and then I've got my spade connectors back here still. So let me just show you how these work. I also decided to stop using these crappy things. Everybody has 400 of these, or at least one. And I bought myself a $20 actual crimper. It's a ratcheting crimper, which really makes nice connections. So you just put it on there, and it essentially obliterates the connector. Not really. What it does is it just crimps it in a nice, even way all the way around, and just makes a really nice connection. So now that I've got my green one done, I can figure out how long these are. I wish these were mounted a little more solidly. You know what? I'm going to mount them more solidly. One thing I've been trying to do more of is do work, but do quality work. I'm really tired of doing work that I'm not really proud of, but I got it done fast, you know, like it's really been a shift. When I built the garage, I really had to focus on speed, and there's lots of things where I'm like, oh man, I wish I'd just taken a few extra seconds to just do it better. So what I'm doing, instead of just letting these wires hang out and flounder, I'm just mounting them with a nylon clip. And you know, you say, well, who the hell has nylon clips lying around? Like, that's ridiculous. Well, I do, and the reason is because this nylon clip came off the last motor. But allow me to show you a little pre-planning. This is a 120-piece nylon cable clamp assortment. Yeah, and it took me like 2 minutes to find it on Amazon and put it in my cart, and like $5 or something, or 10 or 20, who knows. But now I have an endless assortment of nylon clamps so that I can do stuff like this and protect my wires just a little bit more. Now they're not gonna fly all over the place and get caught in the fan, who knows. Anyway, I like doing stuff like this more and more. The other thing I bought was a set of grommets, which they basically, you're going through sheet metal, put a grommet in, run your wires through that, and the wires are protected. It's a really simple thing, and it's kind of obvious, but if you don't buy them ahead of time and have them around, you're not going to have them around. I made that green one too long. I was supposed to do the white one first. Damn. Alright, so check this out. Now that these are all wired, you just get your heat gun and heat them up evenly around all sides, and they shrink down. It really couldn't be any easier. and eventually they'll start to get clear, translucent, and that's how you know they've shrunk down. I suppose if you get them too hot, you can burn the plastic, but probably burn the plastic on the wire first. There. So that's it. Now they're waterproof, sealed. Now what I want to do is basically slide this sleeve. And this one came with the last motor. I'm basically going to slide this sleeve over them to protect them. But again, this is something you can buy, these sleeves. So this is basically the end product, and I'm confident that this is going to last, you know. Let me show you. I bought bags of this exact same type of sleeving. Now this sleeving does not have a slit in it, and this actually looks like it might be heat resistant. This is just plastic and it has a slit going down it, but I have, you know, a small size, a huge size, and kind of a medium size. And I also bought this stuff, which is kind of like miniature, or, you know, it's called elephant gut corrugated tubing. But so I mean, yeah, so all of this stuff, I kind of went on a like electronics, low voltage electronics shopping spree. This stuff is called Tech Flex. And I got all the stuff that I would need to make sure that the work I was doing was quality. And it wasn't cheap all in one order, but I see this as a lifetime supply. Like, I'm never going to have to buy this stuff again. I mean, unless I start really doing a lot of low voltage projects. So yeah, this is the end product of the motor. You know, I feel good about this. This is nice and solid. This is protected. You know, if you wanted, you could put electrical tape over those. But I kind of hate electrical tape. It's messy, and I don't know. I feel like this sleeve is kind of doing its job better. I will put a zip tie. That's another thing. Make sure you have plenty of zip ties. I'll put a zip tie around this right here, just to kind of keep it from sliding down. So, and now I need to wait for that stuff to dry. These, it's pretty dry. I guess that looks pretty wet though. That's where it mounts. I may actually hit that with another coat. Can't hurt. This stuff is, you know, in the heat every single cycle, and it's got a bunch of soot, which is a bunch of acid, so I mean, they really don't stand a chance at surviving. But yeah, and then I'll put it in, and hopefully it works. I think I may have that fuse around here. Yeah, this is what the fuse looked like. Obviously blown, but 6 amp, 250 volts. These are the fuses that I got. One suggestion: if you have a part like this, where like, oh man, I blew a fuse, I gotta get a fuse, buy 2, right? Because the extra cost is so small, especially if you're paying for shipping. And if you blow one, you don't have to wait another week to get one. I could not find these locally in stores. But yeah, buy one, and then like keep a place where you have spare parts. And just label it boiler fuse, and then you'll know. So yeah, I have new ones, but again, I didn't want to put the fuse in until I actually found the problem. So I wanted to show you the control board. I've unplugged the harness here. Up at the top, over here on the right, is the fuse. Pull it out, put a new one in. It's pretty simple. So I put my new fuse in. I'm going to plug this harness back in and see if it lights up without blowing the fuse. That'll tell me whether or not it was the combustion blower or not. So the answer to that question is that yes, it comes on without blowing the fuse. So now I'm going to plug in my combustion blower. I haven't mounted the rest of it to it, but I can plug it in and see if it spins. So that's what I'm going to do now. The answer to that question is yes, it's spinning. Hopefully I do a video putting it in. If not, I'll let you know how it goes. Thanks for watching.